My name's Dave DeBow, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content.
All right, guys, welcome to the Property Profits Podcast. I'm your host, Bryce Kaminsky, filling in for Dave Dubois. And have you ever thought about turning your passion into a thriving real estate venture, even in the face of challenges? Today, I've got Josh Martin on the show, who, along with his partner, have transformed from stoners to successful real estate investors. They conquered the rising interest rates, navigating their first fixer-upper, and now have valuable insights to share. Welcome to the show, Josh. Excited to dive into this journey with you. How are you doing today?
Good. Thanks for having me, Bryce.
Yeah, no problem. For the people at home listening, he's already got the Christmas tree. I mean, we are like, we're almost there. It's coming quick. So tell me, you started, there's some like background that we want to touch on in a bit, but why real estate? Like, you could have probably done anything else. What got you excited about it? And before the show, you'd mentioned it took you a little bit while to pull the trigger. So tell people a little bit more about that.
Real estate was something that I didn't even think was going to be in my future. It was something that, my wife and I just work hard every day and save our money. And we happened to be looking at some YouTube videos, and I saw a clip of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which led me to listening to the audiobook, and it just kind of opened my mind up right there, and started reaching out to different channels, bigger pockets, and then really started understanding that real estate was the way to become financially free and get our time freedom back, and that's what we wanted. So we just did what everybody did. We jumped into as many YouTube videos as we could, and it was all about real estate, and it takes you into so many different directions. And when we heard about house hacking, we figured that was the one for us. Let's focus in on that. Let's buy ourselves a duplex and live in one side and have a tenant help us with the other side. And once we just got into all these videos, there was a couple people that we really kind of dug into and followed them and just kind of followed their footsteps. But that was kind of what started it, was the Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It was a mind change for us, because I didn't even know real estate was a thing, and that we can go down this path. And that was the beginning of it right there.
So you mentioned before the show that you spent some time thinking about it. A lot of people tell a similar story to like, I started thinking about it, but it took me a while to like pull the trigger. Tell people a little bit about that.
Yeah, we weren't sure until we found really, it's just like everybody else out there. You're going to get all this information, you're going to doubt it, and that's kind of what we were doing. And as soon as we latched onto, again, a couple of these real estate investors that we believed in, we actually reached out and tried to talk to them, had a couple meetings with them, and we were like, all right, this is going to help us pull the trigger. So what we did was we started realizing that the more people we talked to, the more comfortable we were going to be. And so we got that whole, you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And for us, it's hard to reach out and just talk to people like that. And once we did, it just got us comfortable, and we were able to pull the trigger as far as figuring out what we were going to do. One of the things was we lived in California, and we were not able to qualify for anything in California where we were living. So we started looking around different places, and Washington, where we're at now, seemed like a great place. This is where we were running numbers on places, and we were like, okay, this could be it. And at that point, once I talked to my wife and she was on the same page, we both decided to just go for it. We drove up to Washington. We had a meeting with one of the investors that I had met on one of the YouTube channels, and that was it. We springboarded from there really quickly. We decided, okay, we got boots on the ground in Washington. This guy was an ex-cop up here for 15 years, so he knew the landscape. all of the areas we wanted to be. And so we made friends and we finally pulled that trigger and we just moved up to Washington. And we were able to start saving quite a bit of money each year just from the move to California and the rentals, the bills, and everything right there. So that actually helped us springboard even quicker to save money.
Yeah, the cost of living, it can definitely vary from state to state. So where does the you put into the interview there to get on the show, how does this stoners thing play into this whole real estate journey?
Well, for us, I decided to use the handle REI Stoners because we got into real estate investing, obviously, and we're a couple stoners, and we didn't want to shy away from that. We also kind of wanted to let people know that if a couple stoners can do this, I guess, you can probably do it too. And the reason we call ourselves stoners is because we were, growing and manufacturing for a while until we actually got arrested for it. And we paid our dues for that. But my wife has epilepsy. And while we were, manufacturing, some friends of ours told us that that could help her with her epilepsy. And she went from having a seizure about once to twice a week to now it's been about 5 years that she's been seizure free because of THC and the oil that we were making for her. And so that's why we, like this handle REI Stoners for the real estate investing. My wife actually has her own handle, seizure free on THC. That's the handle she goes by. And we're proud of it. We don't want to shy away from it. It's just part of our life.
So now that you're still working, you finally, I guess you'd mentioned that you've finished fixing it and now you're waiting to place a tenant in there. Is that correct?
Yeah, actually, when we bought this property, we had been looking and looking, and it was tough to find the properties. We were actually, our buy box was we were looking for 2 1s because that was about what we qualified for, and we just, even that wasn't really popping up. And this was a 3 1, and it popped up at under 500. So we were amazed, and it was just looking all the time to see, the houses in our buy box, and constantly doing the homework every single day is kind of what helped us get there.
Yeah. Well, the house hacking thing is really emerging as the cost of living is increasing, globally, I would say. What are your plans beyond this thing? Are you getting property management? Are you guys going to be placing your own tenant? I mean, they pretty much are living next door, so it might be
Yeah.
a good idea to place them yourself, at least on this one.
Yeah, we're definitely going to do it ourselves on this one, and we're going to be property manage ourselves. We want to understand what we've jumped into since this is our first property. We want to stabilize the unit. Right now, there was a lot of repairs to be done when we bought it because we bought it so low. We knew that. We were able to actually get some negotiations with the price, with the owner to help out and fix some things. So it definitely benefited us now that it's fixed and repaired. Yeah, this is our first step, is trying to get a tenant in and trying to, present our ad the way, that we want to get it, so that people will come. And we have a particular criteria we're looking for, and we're not budging on it. It might take a couple months, but we're going to sit here. And again, it's winter time in Washington. We've heard this is kind of a bad time, but we're going to buckle down. We can afford to pay our own mortgage right now, and once we get a tenant in, it'll actually be better for our pocketbook. So
Yeah, worst case, what's worse is putting the wrong tenant in. So you got the idea correct, because it really is like you put the wrong person in there, it could cost you way more than a few months of paying the mortgage. So what
yeah.
are your plans moving forward for maybe the next acquisition or the business as a total?
Well, now we got an FHA loan on this one, and we've heard that now they have the 5% conventional that we can do, but it still requires quite a bit of saving now that we've used a lot of our money to, rehab this place. So, now we still want to buy properties. We don't want to wait a couple years until we buy another one. So, yeah, now we're actually trying to understand seller financing, how to reach out for private money. Some of the things that we weren't really paying attention to right off the bat because we just wanted to get our first house hack. So, yeah, we're going to try to move in that direction now.
Yeah, definitely. So, um, when you move, are you planning to like move out of that one, rent this one out, and go to another duplex, or what's your next target, do you figure?
Um, we're gonna stay in the area, but we don't know exactly. We're just gonna see what we can find. If I can have my agent seller finance something with me, or if I find somebody, it just depends on what deal kind of comes
Hmm.
across the table at that point in time on what we might do.
So you mentioned earlier that you're interested in scaling quickly. Have you started educating on, because you went down the YouTube path. Have you started
Yes.
educating yourself on raising capital on the YouTube side?
Not raising capital. We've been learning more about seller financing. I've been
Hmm.
following a couple guys, Cody and Christian, that are really into seller financing that have helped me out quite a bit. I
Hmm.
actually sat down and had coffee with them. And, again, I'm trying to be comfortable being uncomfortable, talking to different people. And these guys were pretty much what I felt outside of my league, but they sat down and had coffee with me and, talked to me about seller financing. And, was able to open my eyes to what else is out there. So I was pretty
Hmm.
excited to understand about seller financing. And now, again, I'd like to, like what you were just saying, is understand about how to approach somebody to borrow money from them. And that's just something that is even more uncomfortable for me.
Hmm. Yeah, it can be a little nerve-wracking, but I say this on a few podcasts once in a while, but fear is it's not real, is what my mentor said to me. He said, fear is not real. It's the unknown that we're afraid of. We're not afraid of the dark. We're afraid of what we can't see in the dark. So, shedding some light on that situation will probably help you feel a lot better about raising capital. Now,
Yeah.
um, you mentioned moving. That must have been, as well as, investing in real estate. That must have had you guys feeling pretty nervous moving out there.
Yeah, a bit. We weren't sure what to expect coming out here. That's why we actually, before we moved out here, we came out here, stayed for a week. I mean, obviously, Washington's a big place, so we kind of
Hmm.
pinpointed a few areas before we left just to kind of look around. Made a couple appointments with, like I said, some investors just to meet up with them up here and, get, their idea and of where we should be, what we should do. And we were just trying to piggyback off of other investors because that was kind of some of the information we were getting on YouTube. Find somebody that you want to be like and do and talk to them and see if they'll give you information. And what we found is there's a lot of investors that are willing to help you out and give you all this free information. So
Hmm.
if anybody out there is listening, feel definitely reach out to people because they want to help you.
Yeah, a lot of us feel like I wish someone would have told me that, So there's a lot of like paying it back because we all get a hand up as we climb the real estate ladder. So, what would you ideally like to see, let's say, in 5 years?
In 5 years, I'd really like to see us having at least a few more properties under our belt. I mean, I'd like to say at least we have 4 properties. I don't, however many doors, it is what it is. If we can get a quadplex or something, that's something that we've been trying to, figure out. How can we get something bigger? Like, we talked about scaling up, and so, we don't really want to get another duplex. We'd like to get something bigger, even if it's commercial, and we can work with somebody and find somebody to partner up with if we find a good deal. We're willing to
Mhm.
do everything. So right now it's just doing a lot of homework and understanding what's out there for us and what we can do.
Yeah. Well, they say however much time you give yourself is how long it'll take. So if you
Yeah.
decide that that's four properties in 5 years, you can definitely do it. If it's 50 properties in 2 years, you could probably do that too. So um, I love the idea of going to the larger multifamily. Then you would move into it, something like that.
Yeah, we would definitely house hack that and keep moving on. And that's, if we can use another FHA loan, we refinance out of this one. It's all about variables on what actually happens. If not, like I said, and we find a partner that's willing to get in there, I mean, we're willing to take a percentage of a property if we find it and we can get our foot in the door with someone else. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So as far as raising capital, you haven't started it, but you're still thinking about it. You haven't like started approaching people about the idea just yet.
No, not just yet, but I actually am going to there's a guy on YouTube that I follow, Michael Zuber, and he's having a big event in Vegas, and
Nice.
there's going to be a bunch of investors there. So I bought tickets for it. This is going to be the first time I've ever gone to one of these, and I'm just looking to, again, get uncomfortable over there and meet some people, and just start talking to people, and that's where it all starts right there. So
Yeah, I like that. I like your motto, get uncomfortable. We get a t-shirt, get uncomfortable. Because that
right.
really is the name of the game. There's no growth in the comfort zone. So do you feel like do you feel like that I'm gonna bring it on the table. Do you feel like the criminal records section is gonna hold you back, or do you feel like you've come to terms with that?
Oh, no, not at all. At first, I really thought it was going to hold me back from jobs, from everything. But I mean, immediately I was able to get lab jobs in the industry because cannabis was legal at that point. So,
Yeah.
I was able to get a couple lab jobs legally. And yeah, it was not anything that really bothered me. My cousin's a lawyer, so I hit him up and asked him some questions, and he made me feel comfortable about it. And basically, once I was off probation, I was able to get it expunged. And again, I got a fean jobs that were big corporate jobs like Frito-Lay, and they didn't even look at it. So, and even when we bought this house, I mean, obviously it's gone off my record now, so it didn't really matter. So,
Well, it's definitely it's funny how one day it's you're getting arrested, the next day you're getting hired. So it's all in cycles, and I'm glad that you've been able to overcome that, and you've been able to use that for the wife. And congratulations on solving that, because I imagine that would have been super challenging. And so
very, yeah.
yeah, proper real estate can take you for as far as you want it to go, and it sounds like you guys are well on your way. If people want to connect with you guys, they want to reach out, they want to know more about your journey, how do they do that? Where should they go?
On Instagram, we're REI Stoners, and on YouTube, we're also REI Stoners. And my wife is seizure free on THC on Instagram and YouTube as well.
Awesome. Well, I think that if you're listening at home and you're looking for some inspiration, Josh here's got a few nuggets in that. If you missed it, you're just gonna have to listen to it on the replay. I appreciate the time, Josh.
Hey, thanks, Bryce, for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. And until next time, guys, we'll catch you on the next episode.
Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewyou.com. Now at moneypartnerformula.com, we help real estate investors to create a process for predictably getting capital so they can do more deals without relying on hard money lenders or the banks. We do this by building them a private capital marketing system. Now, if you want help turning yourself into a big money capital attraction machine, then book a call with our team to see how we can help. Just visit moneypartnerformula.com to find out more. All right, take care, and we'll see you on the next interview.